건강하세요?
안녕하세요.
네, 오늘 아빠 졸업식이에요. 이제 박사가 된대요. 그동안 걱정 많이 하셨죠?
네, 졸업식 하러 나갈 거예요. 그동안 고생 많으셨어요. 네.
감사합니다.
어디 가니?
안녕하세요. 오, 이상해요. 나 가고 싶은 곳. 때가 쏘래. 땅콩은 다 어디 있어요?
오세요.
여기요. 해가 있는데요? 엄마 거야?
She can be wheeled down.
Through the way.
여기가 식장 있는 데고요. 아직 못 들어가는 거야? 근데 들어가면 1시간이나 기다려야 되잖아. 그럴 바에야 뭐 여기 걸어 다니면서 거리나 좀 사진 더 찍지. 아니 영신이 등록만 하고
멋있게 보이나?
잘 찍히고 있어.
That is not recording.
자, 저쪽으로 가서 사진 좀 찍을까?
Then you get right. And the sun's at the bottom.
찍어줘. 찍었어? 오케이.
In front.
이걸로 들.
Yes. Look and see if it thing is on that red.
사진을 찍는데 좀 문제가 있는 것 같네요. 네, 이게 지도 교수님이세요. 네, 계속해서 사진 찍는데 문제가 있습니다. 김태표가 지금 벌써부터 잠이 오나? 좀 이쪽으로 좀 나와 있어. 문에 있지 말고. Uh-huh.
Capacity audience for this event and request your assistance in fully utilizing our seating capability. Please stand and move as close to the center of the seating area as possible. Please fill in every seat, leaving no empty seats between you and your neighbor. Again, please move as close to the center of your row as possible, filling each and every...
Ladies and gentlemen, will you please rise for the processional and remain standing for the national anthem? Please rise.
어디? 찹거등 찹싸게 얘기를 해주세요. 어디 있어요? 찾았어, 최승민? 택배 아빠가 안 보이고 있네요. 도저히 못 찾겠네. 지금 들어와요? 어느 쪽? 왼쪽, 오른쪽? 이거 완전 고문이 따로 없네, 이거. 이렇게라도 찍어 놓으면은 나중에 자신이 알겠지 어디 있었는지. 어? 도대체 어디 숨은 거야 이거?
commencement exercises. All are in their places. While the day is one of joy and celebration, the commencement ceremony itself calls for dignity and decorum. This is one of the great days of a lifetime for our graduates, their families, and friends. Therefore, we request everyone's cooperation in according this ceremony the quiet respect it deserves. These exercises for the 2001 summer sessions are hereby called to order.
Thank you, Mr. Marshall. I'm Graham Spanier, President of the Pennsylvania State University, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to these commencement exercises today. We shall open with our national anthem, led by Ms. Amanda Silliker of the School of Music, and accompanied by Mary Ann Fraser, organist. Thank you very much. You may be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the university, I welcome each of you to this occasion. This ceremony is patterned after a ritual which has been repeated through the long history of higher education and duplicated throughout the world, wherever there are universities and colleges. The robes we wear and the symbols of the ceremony are from the Middle Ages. The mace is a symbol of the authority of the university. The spirit of commencement is modern, is always new, and is always focused on the future. I'm pleased to introduce this year's commencement speaker, Daniel J. Larson, the Vern M. Williman Dean of Penn State's Everly College of Science. Dr. Larson has led the Everly College of Science since fall 1998, when he was appointed by the Board of Trustees. He is a leader in physics education at the graduate and undergraduate levels, as well as an accomplished researcher in experimental atomic, molecular, and optical physics. Before joining us at Penn State, he was the Maxine S. and Jesse W. Beams Professor of Physics at the University of Virginia, where he was consistently ranked among the best teachers in his department and among the most highly respected researchers. Dr. Larson joined the University of Virginia in 1978 as an associate professor of physics. He was chairman of its physics department from 1991 to 1997 and associate dean of its arts and sciences faculty from 1989 to 1991. He also was a National Science Foundation Graduate Fellow from 1996 to 1970 and a Woodrow Wilson Fellow in 1966. Dr. Larson earned his doctoral degree in 1971 and his master's degree in 1967, both in physics at Harvard University. In 1966, he graduated summa cum laude with a Bachelor of Arts degree in physics and mathematics from St. Olaf College. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to introduce today's commencement speaker, Daniel Larson.
Thank you very much. It's an honor and a pleasure to have the opportunity to speak to the graduates this afternoon. First of all, I want to welcome you to the company of learned men and women. What you have achieved is very much worth celebrating, and I'm pleased that you're here today to be recognized and to celebrate. Commencement is a happy time, a time when we can see the results of all the effort put in over many years by students and faculty. Academic endeavor, especially research, takes a special kind of commitment. Sometimes I feel a bit envious of those like carpenters and steelworkers who can always see at the end of the day what they've accomplished. With academic endeavors, there are those times when progress is very obvious and times when it is not. It takes an extra level of commitment and perseverance to forge ahead in those times when progress is not so obvious. And whether things are going well or not, it very often takes commitment to long days and weeks with many, many hours of work in them. You would not have reached this point today without that commitment. Hopefully you've had the benefit of encouragement. There is the story about a graduate student, a postdoc, and a professor who come across an old brass lamp as they are walking through a park. The grad student picks up the lamp and a genie comes out of it. The genie says, "Okay, you know the drill. You each get one wish." The grad student says, "I want to be on a sunny beach of a Caribbean island, lying in a lounge chair and sipping a drink." Immediately he is in the Caribbean. The postdoc says, "I want to be in my new home overlooking one of the beaches in Hawaii and relaxing while my husband fixes dinner." Immediately she's there. The genie looks at the professor and says, "Okay, what do you want?" The professor replies, "I want those two back in the lab working in the hour." Graduate education has many challenges, including sometimes the challenge of explaining to family or friends just what you're doing and why it takes all that time. If you've had that experience, you're not alone. Chaim Weizmann, who became president of Israel and was an accomplished scientist himself, described conversations with Albert Einstein on a transatlantic ship crossing. Weizmann said, "Einstein explained his theory to me every day, and on arrival, I was fully convinced that he understood it." All of the effort, all of the study, all the research, all the work has informed you, molded you, shaped you, and given you exceptional skills and knowledge. That knowledge, together with the associated approaches to understanding the human condition and the world around us, is powerful stuff. As I look at you today, I see the future and I feel the power. You have become part of a great tradition, the intellectual tradition that asserts that the world can be understood and is worth examining. This endeavor has been enormously successful, has dramatically changed the human circumstance, and in these days of accelerating change is playing an ever larger role. You have become part of this tradition by what you have achieved. It's not a privilege you're born to or something you can buy. The university, built around this intellectual tradition, is society's most durable social institution. And today, we as a society look to it more than ever as a place of opportunity and as a driver of progress. You are also members of a very special group within the larger tradition. You are members of the Penn State family. One of the great things about my job is that I get to see and talk with lots of undergraduate and graduate alumni. I am continually impressed with the ways in which Penn State alumni have used their education not only to improve their own lives, but also to change the world around them. Through its alumni, Penn State has had a huge impact on the world. In addition, from the beginning and increasingly as the research activity at the university has grown, it is also through the knowledge generated by the faculty and students that Penn State has become a potent force for positive change in the world. You've already been part of that force. You've been encouraged, pushed, forced to think, to seek, to research, to find answers, to develop new understandings, and to push back the frontiers. So where do you go from here? Make plans. Pick out something important to do. Throw yourself into it. Have a goal. And not only have a goal, but work to develop and articulate a larger goal. Penn State has a goal of offering outstanding educational opportunities to its students. It has a larger goal of making the world a better place. Without the larger goal, it wouldn't be as good a place to study and learn. In our planning, we might do well to listen to the advice of Wayne Gretzky, the great hockey player. When asked how he managed to do so well, Gretzky said, "I skate to where the puck is going to be." As you plan and move ahead, be aware that the things you choose to do will not only be an opportunity for you to make a difference, they will make a difference in you. They will change you, just as your years at Penn State have changed you. So choose your endeavors and associates with care and awareness. Be open to learning new things and expanding your understanding. A problem with ambitious goals is that they can be daunting. Where should you start? Start somewhere and work at it. Building a career, like building a great university, and I'm sure like building an accomplished business, is a bootstrap process. Start by doing what you can do. Work to accumulate and expand your experience, knowledge, connections, and contributions. Don't sweat the small stuff, and don't be discouraged. Luck favors the persistent. And of course, keep your perspective. Remember, reality is stressful only if you're in touch with it. Trust yourself. Be aggressive. Take risks. In my own career as a physicist, I did the best research when I took the biggest chances. And I would have done even better if I'd been more aggressive. Very early in my career, I was given some good basic advice by a program officer at the National Science Foundation about applying for research grants. He told me, "We may give you less, but we'll never give you more than you ask for." It was only years later that I began to think of it as advice for a career or a life. Give back. Give back by supporting, advising, and mentoring others. Give back by service to the community and to the profession. Give back to the people who have helped you along the way. Stay in touch. Let your teachers, your advisor, and your friends at the university share in your successes as your career progresses. Don't assume that you'll be doing the same thing during your whole career. Both people and institutions need to be open to changes. The disruption we see just outside this auditorium is a result of Penn State renewal, growth, and change. Take care to look beyond your work. Take time for family and friends. Take time for yourself. One of the sources of sanity and satisfaction in my life has been pickup basketball. For many years, no other activity was as certain to take me as completely away from all the many things stirring around in my head, clear the cobwebs out, and recharge the batteries. I also learned some life lessons from basketball. For one, it's good to find new things to do, new challenges to meet, and new skills to master. Another lesson that has been very important for me is that it's okay to bump into people. In some arenas, like basketball, it's physical bumping, and that's fine as long as we do it within the structure of the game. More often, it's intellectual. There is no harm, and usually real value in differences of perspective and opinion. We grow used to challenges and questions from others in our intellectual work. That's part of the process. We're often less comfortable with challenges and questions about our lives, our beliefs, our practices, our organizations, and our institutions. But that's also part of the process, as long as we do it with a good spirit and in ways that are productive and respectful of others. I remember a story I heard Frank Rhodes tell about the long-standing love-hate relationship between George Bernard Shaw and Winston Churchill. At the opening of a new play, Shaw sent Churchill an invitation which went as follows. Dear Churchill, here are 2 tickets for the opening night of my new play. Please come and bring a friend, if you have one. Churchill wrote back and said, Dear Shaw, regret am unable to attend the opening night because already committed. Tickets returned herewith. Please send 2 tickets for the second night, if there is one. If another story that I read is true, Churchill was also responsible for the shortest commencement talk on record. In his later years, the story goes, Churchill was asked to give the commencement address at Oxford University. Following his introduction, he rose, went to the podium, and said, never, never, never give up. Then he took his seat. Congratulations. I wish you the very best.
Thank you very much, Dean Larson. Ladies and gentlemen, as many of you know, the legal and corporate body of the Pennsylvania State University is its Board of Trustees. This is the body that by our charter is given final responsibility for the governance, welfare, and all other interests pertaining to our university. At this time, I call upon Dr. David A. Morrow, member of the Board of Trustees, to authorize the conferring of degrees at this ceremony. David Morrow, owner-manager of Arch Spring Farm in Tyrone and consulting veterinarian, was formerly a professor of large animal clinical sciences at Michigan State University. Dr. Morrow graduated from Penn State with high honors from the College of Agricultural Sciences with a Bachelor of Science in Dairy Science. He received his Doctorate of Veterinary Medicine and his Doctorate in Theriogenology from Cornell University. He has served on the Board of Trustees since 1987. We are extremely pleased that he is with us today. Dr. Morrow.
Thank you, President Spanier. On behalf of the 32-member Board of Trustees, I bring congratulations and best wishes to the new graduates. Now I turn to my official duties. Dr. Spanier, by virtue of the authority vested in the Board of Trustees of the Pennsylvania State University, I authorize you on behalf of the Board to confer on each of these candidates the degree earned as certified by the appropriate college faculty and dean. Dr. Spanier.
Thank you, Trustee Morrow, for the authorization to confer degrees for these candidates assembled. I call upon the Dean of the Graduate School, Dr. Eva Pell, to preside over the conferring of degrees. Dr. Pell.
Thank you, Dr. Spanier. Graduation marks an important academic achievement. I am pleased to represent those faculty who certify these students for their degrees. In the academic year 2000-2001, we conferred 541 doctoral degrees and 1,314 master's degrees. About 15% of our enrollment at University Park is in the graduate school. Dr. Spanier, I would now like to introduce the deans of the colleges who are members of our platform party. They will come forward to congratulate both the master's and doctoral candidates from their colleges. Will each dean please stand as I call your name and remain standing until all are introduced. Paul J. Wamsness, Senior Associate Dean, College of Agricultural Sciences. Richard W. Durst, Dean, College of Arts and Architecture. Judy D. Oleon, Dean, the Smeal College of Business Administration. Douglas A. Anderson, Dean, College of Communications. Robert G. Crane, Associate Dean, College of Earth and Mineral Sciences. Patricia A. Nelson, Associate Dean, College of Education. David N. Wormley, Dean, College of Engineering. Raymond T. Coward, Dean, College of Health and Human Development. Susan Welsh, Dean, College of the Liberal Arts. Daniel J. Larson, Dean, Eberly College of Science. As Dean of the Graduate School, I will represent those attending this ceremony from the College of Medicine and graduate degrees granted in interdisciplinary programs that embrace several colleges. Thank you. You may be seated. At Penn State, we award two types of master's degrees, academic and professional. Academic degrees, which require competence in research and scholarship, include the Master of Arts and the Master of Science. Professional degrees, which symbolize competence in the application of research to solve practical problems, include 17 master's degrees, which are listed in your program on page 3. Will all master's candidates please rise for the conferral of your degrees?
By the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees, I confer upon each of you the master's degree that you have earned, with all of the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereunto appertaining. Congratulations. You may be seated.
University marshals will now escort the master's recipients to the stage by college, beginning with the College of Agricultural Sciences. The university nomenclator, Dr. Richard Kennedy, will introduce individual graduates and announce their fields of study. Please withhold your applause until all graduates have been introduced. We will be calling each graduate to the platform to be recognized. Our graduates have worked long and hard to earn their degrees, and each one deserves the opportunity to have his or her name and major heard by everyone, especially by family and friends. This is a commencement ceremony intended to be one of dignity and individual recognition, so we ask that you refrain from applause, cheers, and other noise-making for our graduates until all have crossed the platform. Then we will applaud their accomplishments. We are pleased that 435 master's degrees are being awarded by Penn State this summer. Some of those eligible to receive recognition at today's ceremony have already started their new careers and are unable to attend.
College of Agricultural Sciences. Thomas O'Brien Euler, Master of Education in Agricultural and Extension Education. Robert Reeder, Master of Science in Soil Science. Sarah Amy Roth, Master of Science in Agricultural Economics. Lori Ann Boger, Master of Science in Pathobiology. Sanjay
Will the new master's candidates please rise? Let us applaud them. Dr. Spanier, the students who will proceed to the stage have met the stringent requirements of the doctoral degree and have written theses which are significant contributions to their professions. Will all the doctoral candidates and their escorts please rise for the conferral of your degree?
In recognition of your completion of academic requirements of the highest order, and by virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees, I confer upon each of you the doctoral degree that you have earned, with all of the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereunto appertaining. Congratulations.
Faculty escorts will now hood these new doctoral recipients with the attire symbolic of their new academic standing. The Doctor of Philosophy degree is awarded for demonstrated scholarship and original contributions to research in one of 90 major fields of study at Penn State. The border on the hood is dark blue. The Doctor of Education degree recognizes scholarly achievement in the application of research results to practical problems in the field of education. The border on the hood is light blue. Both hoods are lined with Penn State's colors, blue and white. New doctoral recipients are escorted by members of our graduate faculty, and we are pleased to include them in this ceremony. The variations in the colorful academic regalia of the faculty denote the many institutions of higher education represented here today, thereby bringing to Penn State an expansive and impressive educational background reflecting faculty expertise for today's Penn State students. You may be seated until the faculty marshals direct you to the stage.
College of Agricultural Sciences. Cosima Birgit Wiese, Doctor of Philosophy, Plant Pathology, escorted by Professor Eva Pell. Jeanette Sofia Bayuelo Jimenez, Doctor of Philosophy, Horticulture, escorted by Professor Jonathan Paul Lynch. Marina Nikolaeva, Doctor of Philosophy in Rural Sociology and Demography, escorted by Professor Diane K. McLaughlin. Sanford Sherrick Smith, Doctor of Philosophy, Forest Resources, escorted by Professor James Craig Finian. Bruce E. Lord, Doctor of Philosophy, Forest Resources, escorted by Professor Charles Strauss. Lane J. Loyer, Doctor of Philosophy, Entomology, escorted by Professor Arthur Aaron Powell. Beth Elaine Van Horn, Doctor of Philosophy, Agricultural and Extension Education, escorted by Professor Joan Thompson. Jonathan Richmond Winston, Doctor of Philosophy, Agricultural Economics, escorted by Professor Jeffrey Stokes. Josue Lopez Ramos, Doctor of Philosophy, Agricultural and Extension Education, escorted by Professor Thomas Bruning. College of Arts and Architecture. Mary Frances Marciconis, Doctor of Philosophy, Art Education, escorted by Professor Albert Anderson.
the Smeal College of Business Administration. Dean Charles Chatfield, Doctor of Philosophy, Business Administration, escorted by Professor Terry Paul Harrison. Prabhakar Kotunda Raman, Doctor of Philosophy, Business Administration, escorted by Professor David Thomas Wilson. College of Communications. Rex A. Martin, Doctor of Philosophy, Mass Communications, escorted by Professor Jorge Schmidt. Ping Hao Chen, Doctor of Philosophy, Mass Communications, escorted by Professor Robert O'Connor. College of Earth and Mineral Sciences. Sandra Tracy Arthur, Doctor of Philosophy, Meteorology, escorted by Professor Toby Carlson. Robert Edward Hart, Doctor of Philosophy in Meteorology, escorted by Professor Jenny Louise Evans. Rudigon Yimirun, Doctor of Philosophy, Material Science and Engineering, escorted by Professor Eric Cross. Hilary Ann Frost-Humph, Doctor of Philosophy in Geography, escorted by Professor Derek Holdsworth. Claudia Alencar Fonseca, Doctor of Philosophy, Material Science and Engineering, escorted by Professor Ian Roland Harrison. Srinivasan Raghavan, Doctor of Philosophy in Material Science and Engineering, escorted by Professor Mary Lee Mayo. College of Education. Karen Ann Flanagan, Doctor of Philosophy in Curriculum and Instruction, escorted by Professor Kathleen Hyde. Kristen A. Owens, Doctor of Philosophy in Higher Education, escorted by Professor Fred Folkline. Linda Clark Strauss, Doctor of Philosophy in Higher Education, escorted by Professor Fred Folkline. Francis Xavier Antonelli, Doctor of Education, Educational Administration, escorted by Professor John W. Tipconic. Mahali bin Momin, Doctor of Education in Educational Administration, escorted by Professor John Tipconic. Bonnie Harold Edwards Johnson, Doctor of Philosophy in Educational Administration, escorted by Professor John Tipconic. Yafang Chiu, Doctor of Philosophy in Curriculum and Instruction, escorted by Professor James Nolan. Sandra Jane Hemmerer Fair, Doctor of Philosophy, Curriculum and Instruction, escorted by Professor James Nolan. P. Ming Liang, Doctor of Philosophy in Curriculum and Instruction, escorted by Professor Thomas Yockey. Karen Chekas, Doctor of Philosophy in Counseling Psychology, escorted by Professor Jack Raymond. Chung Hai Yu, Doctor of Philosophy in Workforce Education and Development, escorted by Professor William Rothwell. Joseph P. Iannetti, Doctor of Philosophy in Workforce Education and Development, escorted by Professor Richard Walter. John James Spanos, Doctor of Philosophy in Workforce Education and Development, escorted by Professor Richard Walter. Sarah D. Baer, Doctor of Philosophy, Curriculum and Instruction, escorted by Professor Murray Robert Nelson. Nicole Dale Charles, Doctor of Education in Counselor Education, escorted by Professor Fern Willis. Susan Kathleen Person, Doctor of Philosophy in Curriculum and Instruction, escorted by Professor Thomas Michael Dana. Joseph A. Taylor, Doctor of Philosophy in Curriculum and Instruction, escorted by Professor Thomas Michael Dana. Janet D. McNally, Doctor of Education in Adult Education, escorted by Professor Fred Michael Sheed. Chi Lung Lim, Doctor of Philosophy in Instructional Systems, escorted by Professor Allison Carr-Chelman. Sarah Bernadette Fitzpatrick, Doctor of Philosophy in Instructional Systems, escorted by Professor Allison Carr-Chelman. Xin Gao, Doctor of Philosophy, Instructional Systems, escorted by Professor Susan Mary Flan. Susan Kalerick, Doctor of Philosophy in Instructional Systems, escorted by Professor Susan Mary Land. Qing-Chu Zhao, Doctor of Education in Adult Education, escorted by Professor Eunice May Askoff. College of Engineering. Samir Kiran Atani, Doctor of Philosophy, Computer Science and Engineering, escorted by Professor Rangachar Kasturi. Ajay Yashwani Walavalkar, Doctor of Philosophy and Mechanical Engineering, escorted by Professor Anil Kulkarni. Shailu Nagur, Doctor of Philosophy, Computer Science and Engineering, escorted by Professor Anna Siva Subramaniam. Jeffrey Paul Karupe, Doctor of Philosophy, Industrial Engineering, escorted by Professor Natarajan Gautam. Hussein Singh Ozmulu, Doctor of Philosophy, Industrial Engineering, escorted by Professor Natarajan Gautam. Shiva Lee, Doctor of Philosophy, Industrial Engineering, escorted by Professor Jaya Chandra. Ali Khan Palkhan, Doctor of Philosophy, Engineering, Science and Mechanics, escorted by Professor Joseph Rose. Kai Lu, Doctor of Philosophy, Engineering, Science and Mechanics, escorted by Professor Joseph Lawrence Rose. Qian Li, Doctor of Philosophy, Engineering, Science and Mechanics, escorted by Professor Joseph Lawrence Rose. James Norman Barshinger, Doctor of Philosophy, Engineering, Science and Mechanics, escorted by Professor Joseph Lawrence Rose. Anna Kathleen Tyler Howard, Doctor of Philosophy, Aerospace Engineering. Young Sing Kim, Doctor of Philosophy in Crime, Law and Justice, escorted by Professor Roy Leslie Austin. Franz Brian Langren, Doctor of Philosophy in Economics, escorted by Professor Roy Leslie Austin. Boris Michael Malls, Doctor of Philosophy in Economics, escorted by Professor Wayne Osgood. Statistics, escorted by Professor Michael G. Akritas. Paul Levine Malstein, Doctor of Philosophy in Statistics, escorted by Professor Michael Akritas. Carmelata Chitikila, Doctor of Philosophy, Biochemistry, Microbiology, and Molecular Biology, escorted by Professor B. Franklin Hughes. Pei Hong Chan, Doctor of Philosophy in Physics, escorted by
아니
Professor
5분 저쪽에 있어. 5분 돌렸어요 아까.
Jennifer Jo
Absentia because they are already working in their chosen fields here or abroad. Today we have awarded 172 doctoral degrees. In a moment, we will acknowledge our graduates. Will the new doctoral recipients please rise? Let us applaud.
영신이 어디 있어요? 어디?
To induct these new graduates into the Penn State Alumni Association. Dr. Price is Professor Emerita of Criminal Justice at the City University of New York's John Jay College of Criminal Justice, where she also served as Dean of Graduate Studies. She is the author of numerous studies on police professionalism, corrections, and women in crime. and has authored or edited several books, including The Criminal Justice System and Women. Dr. Price earned 2 degrees from Penn State's College of Liberal Arts, an MA and a PhD, both in sociology. She's been a member of the Graduate School Alumni Society's Board of Directors since 1997. Dr. Price.
On behalf of the Penn State Alumni Association, I am pleased to welcome you to a powerful network. You join a tradition of proud and successful Penn Staters who are making a significant difference in the world. The association is all about forging relationships, sharing knowledge, ideas, and talents to help one another. It's also about pride. Pride in Penn State and pride in being affiliated with Penn State alumni around the world. Today, you join 400,000 living alumni and continue the tradition of displaying Penn State pride. Our gift to you is a 1-year membership in the largest and best alumni association in the country, with more than 145,000 members. After that, it's up to you. Stay connected. Make the connection to a life membership in the Alumni Association. In return for your commitment, we make a lifetime commitment to you. We are working hard to provide the services you need and to serve as your door to the university. And now, will our graduates please rise? On behalf of the Alumni Association and the university, it gives me great pleasure to induct you as graduating students into the Penn State Alumni Association. And now, all other Penn State alumni who are with us today, please stand and join our newest alumni. Congratulations. Please be seated.
Thank you, Dr. Price. I want to add my personal congratulations to each and every one of today's graduate degree recipients. Now, before we conclude this ceremony, that's our cue that we're about to end. I should be brief. Before we conclude the ceremony, though, there are some other groups that deserve special recognition. I'm referring to the parents, grandparents, spouses, children, other family members, and friends who have all contributed toward the achievements being celebrated here today. I'd like to ask the family members and friends of the graduates to rise and remain standing for a moment while I say just a few more words to you. Your sacrifice, understanding, support, and caring have helped the graduates to attain their educational goals. This encouragement is very important and not always easy when you have to share this.
방금 여기 어디 있었는데?
Winston Kim, Doctor of Philosophy in Crime, Law, and Justice, escorted by Professor Roy Leslie Austin. Rand Brian Langren, Doctor of Philosophy in Economics, escorted by Professor Roy Leslie Austin. Horace Michael Mull, Doctor of Philosophy in Economics, escorted. Vincent Kendall Shire, Doctor of Philosophy in Chemistry, escorted by Professor Renee Bishop. Hai Hong Lee, Doctor of Philosophy, Statistics.